Welcome back to Shut the Fuck Up and Read, where we shut the fuck up and read. I want to read something to you. This particular article is about traveling. If any of you have ever traveled, by air to another city, another country, wherever, there's rules that you need to avoid. It sparked my interest because it deals with the liberties and freedom of American citizens. Let me read something for you. This is going to be from Yahoo News, okay? DHS continues airport cash seizures a year after Justice Department ended them due to constitutional concerns. This is important. A year after the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, stopped seizing suspected drug money from airline passengers because of the significant constitutional concerns, the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is quietly keeping the practice alive. The Dallas Morning News reported Monday that the Task Forces of Homeland Security Investigation, Customs and Border Protection, CBP, and local police officers have been flagging suspicious passengers at two Dallas area airports and using drug sniffing dogs to get probable cause to search their luggage. Such searches have been conducted throughout the year at DFW Airport in Love Field, according to federal court records. The newspaper reported. And just like with the DEA tactic, agents often seize money from suspects without charging them with any crime. Court records show. The shift is not only another example of mission creep at DHS, but the continuation of a program that civil liberties groups, media investigations, and independent and internal government reviews all concluded leads to innocent Americans having their cash taken. Wow. Okay. Although it's completely legal to fly domestically with large amounts of cash, police consider it indicative of drug trafficking, especially when combined with factors like passenger booking a one-way ticket or having a short turnaround between flights. I guess I can't go on trips or I guess I can't visit family outside of the country or across to California if I live here in Georgia. Okay, let me finish. Federal task forces can seize suspected drug cash under civil asset forfeiture, a practice that allows law enforcement to seize property based on a mere suspicion that it is connected to criminal activity, even if the owner is never charged with the crime, and even if there isn't a single gram of drugs found during the search, police can still take the money, forcing the owner to challenge the seizure in federal court. I got a lot to say after I read this. For example, the Dallas Morning News investigation revealed that in one case this January, Homeland Security agents claimed that they could smell marijuana coming from two suitcases belonging to a passenger arriving at Love Field over in Dallas. This search didn't turn up any marijuana, but agents did find $800,000 in cash, which they seized. The passenger, who has not been charged with any crime, is contesting the seizure in federal court, according to the newspaper. In another case, this is a separate case, task force officers seized roughly $350,000 in cash from a passenger suitcase after a drug dog alerted them on the luggage. The owner was not charged with any crime, and the government later settled the case by returning $178,000 to them. You mean to tell me they kept 122,000 of these people's money, and there was never any marijuana found in the other case? Because let me explain something to you, okay? And I'm gonna be quick. I've worked in law enforcement for over 10 plus years. There is no real drug dog. Let me say that again. Most of the cases where you have drug dogs being used, they are following prompts from the handler. They'll tug on their leash, which tells the dog to sit. And then in court, they'll say, if my dog sits, it's because they smell something. No, that's because you tugged on the leash and you pointed where you wanted your dog to go. Because more than likely, that's where you can securely, without anyone seeing, stash dope or just to say, well, my dog said that gave me the reason to search your car. I've seen so many tactics, I promise you, and it sickens me, honestly, because this is why no one trusts the police. This is why no one has faith in the actual law enforcement field because they're just dirty. I would say 90% of officers out here are just fabricating cases just to say, I had a case. It sickens me. I'm glad that people are reporting this because if you do not, we'll be living in Nazi Germany. You know what I'm saying? And you have people that are just you can't travel with cash. I can't have vacation money if I want to have a lavish vacation. I can't take cash with me, especially if banking systems aren't working or whatever. It doesn't matter what your reason is. I may want to travel with cash. Does that mean that I have to be singled out and you take my cash? This is absurd. And I know of cases that this has happened. I thought that they had actually settled situations like this. Like they said, they stopped doing it, I guess, publicly, but in secret, they have been keeping it alive. There are so many bad actors that, honestly, it makes everybody look dirty. It makes everybody look like a fool. You know, it's sad. That's crazy. I say all that to say there's one more point I want to bring out. I've heard two sides of this argument, and one of the arguments I've heard somebody say, well, it's important because someone may be going to buy drugs. Trust me, there's so many drugs around this country. You don't have to fly nowhere to get drugs in this country. Okay, just look around. You know your neighborhoods or look in the next town. Trust me, you don't need a plane to go buy drugs. Not in America. The whole hype of people bringing drugs into America, man, there's already drugs here in America being manufactured. But what they don't want to tell you is most of it is owned. Yeah, that's another video. Anyways, y'all be safe out there. And this is just another update. Always remember, shut the fuck up and read. Because if you don't shut the fuck up and read, man, you'll fall for anything. Take care.